Hello lovelies, welcome to my page. Here we're going to learn how to make this peephole top as well as this trouser in this one video. Stay tuned if this is for you. So in the previous video we cut out a pattern and these are the patterns we used. I promise that we're going to make use of this pattern to cut out 3 different types of trousers, and in this one we're going to cut out the front zipper of a black pant trouser. Remember in our previous video we mentioned that we added 4 inches because the paper was not enough and we indicated it there, ensuring we did that. So we cut it out and did the same for the back. We measured the 6 inches extra for the back and then cut it out as well. So you take note of the darts. It's very important you place the dart on it. So I placed the dart on the back as well as the front and weaved it. So here is the back and front pattern. Cut out on the pants, and then for the pockets we either join them together like this paper, the front and back, and cut it out, or separately like I did here. So now this is the trouser that is already sewn, and so for want of time I didn't show the sewing process. You've seen it in the previous videos. So this is the extra to add for the zipper flyer, to cover the zipper flyer. So these are the inches, 2 inches and 7.5 inches, and then this is to be able to sew out that front part that it's quite difficult sometimes to sew out. So you have a pattern cut out on a strong ST, the hard ST. Good. I'm just showing how to use it. So I placed it and this is how I used it to create that seamless and beautiful, so endless all the time, so you don't have to measure all the time to sew this. So you have a pattern of your front flyer to be able to sew the zip. So I did this and it was seamless. So here it is. Then for the waistband, you remember I told you in the previous video I showed how to cut it out, that it will be seamless to follow on your waist so beautifully. I showed that when you're sewing it, ensure that it's the parts that are pointing forward, like the shortest parts you sew around, and leave the longest parts down. Those are the parts you're going to use to sew and attach to the trouser. Don't forget to subscribe and like and click on the notification bell to remind you about every post I make every week. So this is opened, is turned around and sewn on the trouser. Next, cutting out the peephole top. So this is just the normal drill. The pattern is placed, measured, and then the shoulder to upper bust, to bust point, to under bust, to waistline. You can see it all around and arranged. 7.5, 10.5, 14, 15, all the way to 23 for the hips. And then this is 2.5 inches, the round neck. And then 2 inches down, so that we can be able to get that turtleneck beautifully. And then we measure our shoulder point, which is 7.5. So you should take note that this video is for an elastic fabric. So the fabric is stretchy. So because the fabric is stretchy, there's going to be a difference in the cutting. But although this is the normal way to cut out a normal turtleneck top, peephole top, but I'll also show you what to do, how you maneuver it when you're dealing with an elastic fabric. So this is for the underarm. So for the underarm, we go out by 1 inch and mark it, and then our shoulder slant, 1/2 inch. You can go 1 inch or 1/2 inch, either way it will work out beautifully. So just fall on your shoulder beautifully. If the person has a shoulder that droops down, you should go down a bit more. Then we measured the midpoint of it and went out, midpoint of the shoulder to the upper bust, and went out by 1/2 inch and drew it in like so. Then measured our bust point, our bust measurement, our upper bust measurement, and our waistline all the way to the hips. I usually measure round the armpits, round the arm. 9.5 for people who have slim arm, and then 10.5, it goes higher based on the measurement you have. I'll measure it and then mark at that point and link it all the way down. It gives you a seamless sew. So remember, going down to the hips, you don't go straight, you don't go curvy all the way. So you go down by 2 inches or 1.5, and then start the curve at exactly 2 inches. And when you start that curve, you blend it all the way down. I showed you in the previous video of making tank top. So that was, we used the stretch fabric to make use of it. So in this one, I did not measure the allowance for sewing because we won't need it for the stretchy fabric. So now for the peephole, I went down by 4 inches. And then for the peephole, I measured 2 inches. You'll find out later on that 2 inches is not enough, so I'll go deeper or down. So you choose how wide you want your peephole to be. So from this point to that point where we have our shoulder line, can you see? I just went further by, you can see, 1/2 inch away from that shoulder line. So I blended it down. You find out that it's not really necessary, that's why I didn't use the measurements per se. So you'll find out at the end of the video. So that is for the upper part. Now for the lower part, I discovered that the peephole was too small just by trying to blend it to that end. So I increased the peephole. So I increased the peephole by 3 inches. I went down by 3 inches, and then from the shoulder point, went in by 1.5 inch, then blended it up. You can see. So because I don't want hair to be curved, to be pointy, so you have to level it up. You level it up so it's straight and there's that curve. So now for the back part, 2.5 inches for the shoulder point where we're going to have an opening on the neck because it's a turtleneck, and then 1/2 inch down. And then blended it. Then measure the shoulder point, which is 7.5, and beat that all the way to the upper bust. So there's just a slight difference for the back and the front. For the back, we don't have that inner entry by the 1/2 inch inside, but for the front, we do have it. So that's just the difference between the back and the front. And then we went out by 1 inch and used our curve ruler to blend it like this. Then our shoulder slant. We slanted it all the way to the beginning, or you can do it at the edge, but I prefer to do it all the way from the beginning by 1/2 inch and went down. I just wanted to ensure that we have exactly 2.5 inches even after we made that slant. So now the back and the front, they are both the same. The only difference is just the upper part. So all we have to do is just cut out the up part differently, and then the down part, we cut them all the same. And then the front part is going to have a dart on the side, so we don't have that excess gathers on the side. So I cut it out You can cut out your allowance at this point at the top part and the down part. So I didn't do this for my pattern. You can do that for yours. So there's going to be a pattern for the front, round front. So make sure you indicate. So I indicated all the allowances I'm going to add. Half an inch allowance for sewing here, half an inch for sewing here, half for the down part, even for the peephole as well. There's going to be half an inch, like so. And same thing with the down part too. And then you note that for the peephole, the upper part is going to be doubled. So this is the front and that's the back. So the upper part is going to be doubled and the down part is going to be doubled. If you can't double the down part because the material is not enough, all you have to do is just cut a front part, at least stopping at the upper bust level. Under bust level, and then you join it and turn it over. We'll talk about it more as we go further. So here is the peephole, the upper part, and then the lower part as well. So here is the dart on the side. So the dart is going to be 4 inches in, or 3.5 inches, based on your choice. And you know how wide that is, 1 inch. So here is the dart already printed on it, made on it. And now I discovered for the stretchy fabric, I told you there's going to be a difference. If you don't do this, it's going to sag in the front. So for a stretchy fabric, you have to go in by 1 inch. So I went in by 1 inch by the shoulder all the way down. Hence, having to cut out all this part. Did the same for the down part, aside from the part that was cut out, the yoke. So we're going to measure 1 inch all the way around. And then cut it out. So these are the parts that are going to be joined together. This part, this little part, I'll be joined together. So for the side to also be fitted perfectly, we have to go in by half an inch at this edge, not all the way down, half an inch at this edge. That's just the slight difference, so that it can grab on the body well, because it's stretchy fabric. And then using my measuring tape, I went down by 5 inches and made a slant all the way down, like so. You can use your ruler. I use my free hand, and I'll also show you how to use the ruler in blending that down part all the way to the up part by half an inch, like this. And now this is the cut out part. So this is how it looks, and these are the parts that are going to be joined together. So you make sure to notch it. You make sure to label the parts that is going to be cut out, that's going to be joined together. So we'll do the same to the back. So for the back, we'll measure 1 inch. You remember the back doesn't have that inner curve like the front, so we measure 1 inch all the way around and cut it out. Same thing with this edge, half an inch in, and go down by 5 inch and blend it all the way down. Then cut it out. Can you see? Please don't mind my using the measuring tape as a ruler, and I hope you understand. Then using our scissors, we cut it all the way down. Then these are the pieces that are going to be sewn together. So make sure you notch exactly the points you're going to be sewing, like this. Are you seeing? And so we're going to sew here. Like I told you, we're going to attach a back part and then sew all the way around, fold it over. And the same thing happens for the up part. It's having a 2 parts. So we sew that and leave that up part alone, because we're going to sew the turtleneck on the top, and then that's the shoulder. Cutting out the turtleneck. Now for the turtleneck, we need to measure. After sewing, you can measure it, or you can do this. You measure all the way to the point where you're going to sew, which is 3.5 inches, and joining the 3.5 inches for the front, we have 7 inches, and then for the back, exactly where we're going to sew, we have 2.5 inches, like this. So 2.5 inches per 2.5 inches, we have 5 inches. So we're going to use that. For the front, we'll measure 5 inches, and for the back, 7 inches. I was just showing you how to sew. So 5 inches for the front, for the back, and then 7 inches for the front. You can do them separately if you want to join the front separate from the back, or join it together this way. Or you could even join together at the midpoint of the back. So either way, you know how to work it out. So after measuring the front and the back, I folded it. You can see you can make it as wide as you want. Your turtleneck can either be 2 inches, 3 inches, but for me, I would use 1 inch just for the pattern, to show you for the pattern's sake. So after folding the front into 2, I went up by ½ inch, like you've seen here. Went up in the midpoint of the front, see it, and then blended that with a curve rule to the edge where we stopped for the front, and went up again on this edge by 1 inch. It's just very easy. Then blended that together. Remember, for the front we went up by ½ inch. For the back it's going to be a bit different. So I cut out this front part. Are you seeing it? So you can leave an allowance of ½ inch by the side, like this. Leave an allowance of ½ inch by the side. And then for the back, at the midpoint, folded it in 2, the exact midpoint. Then went up by ½ inch, 0.25, ½ inch. Then used our curve rule to blend from that end to the point where we stopped for the back. Did the same thing, 1 inch up for the point where we have the back, blended it, then cut it out. I'll show you how it looks at the end of it. It falls perfectly on your neck, both for a stretch fabric or a normal fabric. And then we have the front and the back. You can see like this, and then show you. Can you see how it can be joined? So you give a ½ inch measurement. See how beautiful it is. ½ inch measurement for the front, all around the sides where you're going to join. Can you see? All around. You can do them separately or together, and you're good to go. So voila, there we have it. Thank you for watching.